Mag Issue 2. You're our beautiful cover girl. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
A genuine fan of Premae as well. So you found us October, I believe.
Yeah, God, it's 6 months ago now. More than that.
So thank you. You're very welcome. I just wanted to kick off with a couple of questions, just sort of the things that I guess me as a massive fan would just want to know, but I've never got the chance to actually ask you. And that would be like, when you was younger, when did you discover that you were born to sing? Like, because every girl has that dream of singing, and we sing in the shower, and we sing to our friends, but you're a massive talent, and your voice is undeniable. So when was that moment? Did it come in childhood or was it later on?
I've sung since before I could speak. So often I would sing melodies to things, but I hadn't formed words properly. Right. So, you know, Mum and Dad would always tell me that. But the first time I can remember singing for an audience was, I must have been about age 4.
Wow.
And I was singing on the pulpit in church. I joined my mum and my sister.
Okay.
And I never stopped singing since.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's in Wolverhampton.
And that's in Wolverhampton.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've done nothing other than sing and perform.
Wow.
That's what I've done since I was tiny.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so therefore there wasn't any other sort of career choice for you. You knew from a young age that
I knew that I wanted to sing, but I was also a very academic child. I was very bookish, I was very conscientious. I still am that child. I still devour books, I still am huge when it comes to learning and things like that. So for a minute I flirted with the idea of being a barrister.
Okay. So did I, but
that was mainly because my dad wanted me to be a barrister.
Okay.
But no, that was never going to be my path.
Did you even try it for like work experience at school?
No, God, no. I mean,
I did for 2 weeks.
Really?
I was sleeping, I got told off.
Wow.
And it's so boring, but my friend's mum was a lawyer. So we looked up to Kerry's mum and thought, oh yeah, we want to become solicitors as well, or lawyers.
Yeah.
2 weeks work experience.
Exactly. It was one of those careers. Well, there you go. Right. It's one of those careers where it's very admirable, you know. Absolutely. A lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, you know, those kinds of things.
Those professions.
However, that was never going to be my path. That was just not my calling. I must have been about age 8 or 9 when I realised that in some capacity or another, I was going to sing, I was going to write, I was going to perform. Because I played piano and was trying to write things, you know, in my very kind of prepubescent way, trying to clunk out melodies.
Of course.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, when did you move to London from Wolvers?
I went to Cheltenham, the University of Gloucestershire, to read theology, and my minor was performance arts. So I left Wolverhampton at 19 to do that. Wow. And then when I finished my degree, Flavour of the Old School was already out, and I was finishing up my debut album, The B-Funk. So I had to move to London straight from my degree, because the record, everybody was asking,
but that's
where's this album?
Right. And I guess the record label's in London as well.
Everything is based in London. Absolutely. Perfect. So I needed to be in London. So I went straight from Cheltenham to London, and I was 22. So I've been in London this whole time.
And you just look exactly the same. You really do. Like 22 back then, you still look 22. Oh my God, wow. And you just recently celebrated a birthday. Happy belated.
Thank you.
What did you do?
Oh my God, what did I do for my 43rd? Had lunch with my husband and then went home to Wolverhampton, predictably. Hung out with the family.
Yes.
Which was great.
I saw
lots
on
of food.
Instagram. Yeah, your mum made this massive carrot cake.
Yeah.
Carrot cake is my favourite.
Huge carrot cake. My mum's a baker.
Like, oh my God. Massive cake. It's like 40 years worth of cake.
And there was 43 candles on the cake.
Oh my God. Well, there you go.
My husband insisted. I was like, yeah, alright, thanks.
Okay, wonderful. And then, so talking about the record labels needing to be in London, you had great studio album successes with gold certified albums. You then decided in 2009 to forge out on your own and set up Hurricane Records.
Yes.
Why?
In 2007, my recording contract with Parlophone came to an end. I did not like the direction in which record labels at that time were heading. They were heading that way for the best part of a decade. The deals were getting, to my mind at least, as a creative person, more and more restrictive. More and more of your income was being taken of all different streams. It was not conducive to proper creation of music. It seemed to me that people just wanted you to make things that would sell, regardless of anything else.
And that
you
is
know?
so not
and
your
that's not me.
lyrics, that's not your energy, that's not your vibe.
It's not me at all.
And I think in Britain, actually, our artists are really, really true to themselves, like Omar, like yourself. You don't, it's kind of like you're timeless, you know, like
and
Sade.
that was what I wanted to be.
That's it, you're not saying, okay, need to sort of sing these types of tunes to
stay relevant. Yeah.
You guys are just, you know, in the league of your own, and you set your own trend.
We do what we do.
Exactly.
And I wanted to continue
Fantastic.
to do what I do without having the creative process inhibited by anything or anyone. So
what was that
Hurricane
adventure
Record was born, and
Okay.
it's hard work. It is hard
It's running your
work.
own business, isn't it?
Running your own business from the beginning. I mean, when you're a recording artist, you're self-employed anyway.
Right. Okay.
That's how you're regarded, you know, for tax
Fine.
purposes. You're a
That's it.
sole trader.
Got it.
But actually running a record industry, you know, run a record company, should I say? Yeah, that's a whole different consideration. You are pulling in people to do this thing and that aspect and this marketing campaign and that advert and, you know, TV plugging and what have you. The kind of things that a record label would have done for you anyway, but you're pulling in everybody independently. And what you don't have as an independent is the huge marketing and distribution budgets or the kind of the weight, the pull.
That's right.
You know,
sort
so
of
you
upfront
can
capital and the reach that they can generate, I guess, almost overnight.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on the independent route, you know, you're sort of
you're knocking on doors one by one because I just made the records I wanted to make. I just did what I wanted to do. Soul UK, the last album I did, which was out in 2010. Lord. That album would never have been made on a huge, you know, major record label. It just wouldn't have.
Okay.
It was not the kind of album that I don't think a record label of, you know, that kind of huge magnitude, I don't think they would have understood it.
Okay.
And I wanted to pay homage to British soul acts, a lot of whom had not had the spotlight shone on them in years.
Right.
You know, they probably wouldn't have known who Junior Giscombe was, or Princess, or Loose Ends, you know.
Right.
Or indeed Omar.
Right.
Who you think the whole world knew.
Right. Offspring, and they're really, and it's true, in Britain, they're still sort of like unsung heroes.
Absolutely. And yet in the States, you talk to Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Music Soul Child, Bilal, all those guys from that era, they all cite Omar as an influence, and yet over here, so many
like
people
just
are
discovering him. Like, oh, really?
Don't know who's never heard of him. But I couldn't have made an album that played homage to people like that. They understood the George Michaels, they understood the Jamiroquais, and I included them, you know, in the broader sense of British soul. But I wanted to include Omar and people because I wanted the British public to understand whose shoulders I stood on in order to get my break.
That's really honourable of you and admirable of you, because I find in our culture, in the British black diaspora, there's not enough of us sort of giving back, you know, holding the door in the elevator and
sending the elevator back down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for you to do that, when really it's not your job to do so, it's for the consumer and it's for the black media and whoever else to go out and share that information.
But artists lead the way, and so in my capacity as an artist, I wanted to do this, and thank God.
Fantastic. I'm aware of, because I bought a few of your products from Selfridges, you had your own line of cosmetics as well.
I did, yes.
Talk me through that journey. What was the thought process? Because it's not unheard of that a musician or an artist or a model, someone in the spotlight, would go into cosmetics or making their own brand.
Yeah.
What was the need at that time, and what was your journey?
Well, the thing that drove me was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was in the marketing world and worked closely with brands. So I was just sounding off, as I usually do, about the lack of cosmetics for all women of colour, and just saying, you know, they'll bring out products and you'll have a gazillion different shades of beige, and you'll have 2 or 3 colours of brown, and that's supposed to cater for all women of colour. Oh, what's that? What is that all about?
When there's so many shades of us.
Way more.
Way more. You know what I mean? Right.
So it was frustrating, and my friend Sarah Foxwell, she said, why don't you do your own? And I was like, well, how? She was like, well, I'll help you.
Great.
So we set about creating this brand, which was called K by Beverley Knight. Ultimately, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
What did you want to achieve with the brand?
I wanted a brand which wasn't about celebrity, wasn't about me and the name. It wasn't just, oh, and here's a celebrity product.
Right.
I wanted something that was, this was created for a niche market.
Okay.
There you go. Doesn't matter who's behind it.
Fine.
But this is something else you can put next to Black Opal or Sleek.
Yes,
or, you know, that's what I wanted.
Good.
That wasn't exactly what the people, the money people, that's not what they understood. They saw the celebrity.
I guess. And obviously because your name's on it.
That's
as well.
right.
So K by Beverley Knight. It's
That's
not just
right.
like an unknown brand and then everybody sort of got to know, oh my God, Beverley's behind it.
That's right.
So I guess...
So I think, and there were mistakes on my part. I mean, I almost wish it had have been called just K by BK, and people would be like, well,
and they had to really find out to discover what that
because
meant.
I do think the celebrity aspect of it was the thing that blinkered everyone. However, I'm glad I did it because it just highlighted the need.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to where I was to find you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, this is it, you know, Premae is a brand that we actually cater to all women.
That's
so not
right.
just women of colour. My main fan base are white women, aged 28 to 70.
Yes.
And 70% of my fan base are white women. And then obviously I'm a black woman and I own the brand and I create the product. So by default, I guess women of colour gravitated after they realised that I was behind it. But because I sort of tried to stay faceless for a couple of years, or the first 2 years, just to actually test the market and see if there was a real need, because I'm an allergy sufferer. We related on that level. It was, do you have allergies? Are you trying to live a healthier lifestyle, whether it be a vegan or gluten-free, or there's some sort of free-from factor? And then the colour issue came into it, I guess, when people started to see me getting interviewed, and when I expanded into the foundations, which I launched in 2014, and which you wear, which is amazing. And we wear the same shirt.
I know, isn't it mad? The thing that got me was I have been, over the years, kind of transitioning away from... and that was another reason why if I ever did a brand I'd rethink the whole thing, away from the traditional ingredients of makeup. Certainly not interested in stuff that tests on animals. And although I don't suffer from allergies, I'm a vegetarian. I eat as clean as I can. I tend to stay away from gluten. And you can develop allergies as time goes on, out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
And for my own internal health as well as my skincare health, I wanted to find something that, you know, was just going to work, you know, for my lifestyle.
Fantastic.
So I started to look at mineral makeup and what have you. And then I found you. I had no idea it was you.
Right.
But I saw Premae. Because it was, I think it was an article that was talking about makeup that is great for women of colour, and Premae was listed as one of them, and then it said vegan, gluten-free, allergy-free, and I was like, what? So I was like, found you straight away.
Excellent.
And thought, I'm going to give it a go.
Wonderful.
And, you know, and here I am. Here I am.
Yay,
Here I am. Sweet date, number 13.
Sweet date as well.
There you go.
There you go. It's amazing. And that's the thing, we do shades that go even deeper as well.
Absolutely.
Sort of like African deep.
Yes.
You know, kind of like Alec Weck shade.
Yes.
All the way to the paler shade of ivory, sort of.
Yes.
Hilary Swinton.
Yeah.
So, you know, my thing is about women, it's about inclusion, it's about diversity, and I find that other brands, obviously, if they are sort of, I call them chemical chic, you know, sort of exclude people that have skin sensitivities or are embarking in a new lifestyle, and obviously women of colour, whether that's Asian, Mediterranean, Southeast Asian, and Black and Afro-Caribbean. Wow. Okay, awesome. Well, back to talking about you in theatre, because I had the pleasure of coming with my husband to see Beverley in Cats.
Yes.
And you was Mistress of Ella, and your character was so vulnerable, and you played it with so much femininity. It was so gorgeous, because the other cats were so sassy. And
they were sexy, they were young, they were beautiful.
God.
And my
I just couldn't stop looking at their bodies and just thinking, I wish I could sit like that and perch like that, because I love cats as animals, and I need to get some cats for the new house. But it was a pleasure to watch you.
Thank you.
And I know that you've had great roles. What was it like transitioning from doing obviously your studio albums and performing globally to now, you know, I think you started, I've got here that you started with the Bodyguard.
Yeah, I started in the Bodyguard.
That's right.
But the whole theatre thing began actually with the script of Memphis.
And you played Felicia.
And I played Felicia in Memphis. Now, I owe my whole theatre journey as an adult, you know, in this capacity, to a woman called Lisa Machin and her partner, Soleil Henry.
Right.
Because they thought of me. Lisa was involved in the production of the musical Memphis in its early stages, and they thought I'd be great for Felicia. So they approached me with the script. I read the script, I thought it was amazing. I thought, fantastic story. I hadn't even heard the songs, but just thought it was fantastic. They didn't have a theatre, they weren't ready. But I said, absolutely, I'd be interested should it come to light. Well, in the meantime, the Bodyguard was doing a cast change. It hadn't done as well as they'd hoped it would do. So they wanted to do a complete cast change. And I thought, I'd be interested in that. I think I could do that. I remembered the stories of people vying for the rights of the Bodyguard to turn it into a musical years before. So I always had a little thing in my head about the Bodyguard. And then saw it on Twitter of all places.
Wow.
They're now doing auditions for the cast change. And I was like, I'm going to ask my management to see, you know, the process. That's right. I mean, it's the West End. It's a whole different kettle of fish. It's not Amdram, which I'd done my whole life. It was the real thing. So I thought, I'll give it a go. 2 weeks later, I landed the role, and my journey began.
Wow, because seeing the posters, that was like, look at them.
I know. It was.
It
was so wonderful to see the amount of support as well. There's so many people came and watched it.
Fantastic.
It was a thrill.
Yeah, and just being part of the whole cast and the ensemble, performing night after night. Do you get nerves? Because I'm actually a classically trained actor.
Right.
Before I went into beauty, at the same time, I was studying a BA in drama, film and TV.
Wow.
I went to Brunel.
Oh my God.
And then I got a scholarship to do a fine art masters in Hollywood, but I didn't have 10 grand to do it, so I set up a business instead. But anyway, and I know that for me, whilst training, I love film and TV, but theatre is obviously a massive part of training, but it's the night after night.
Yeah, you need...
How do you overcome the nerves?
Well, the only time I got nervous with Bodyguard, really nervous, was the dress run, where there's nobody in the audience. It was just me and the cast. But you're running the show, literally, an hour and a half later we were actually going to do the show.
Yeah.
So with our audience for the first time. But by that time, all the nerves had gone because we'd done the dress run.
Yes,
it wasn't quite so
and now
terrifying.
actually you're just almost itching to go to get the feedback and the responses.
You need an audience.
You do.
You need the audience.
So that it's almost like they feed into your performance.
Absolutely. So, and then by show 3, you're away. You're there. You're fine. It's good. Yeah.
Great.
Why not?
How are you going to flip between that and promoting the new album?
I have to find a way to make it work. I've just got to make it work.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just don't stop.
No.
You've won 8 awards, including the Black Music Awards, MOBOs. You've won 4 of those incredible and Premaes as well. How does it feel to be known as the Queen of British Soul?
The way I see my career and these titles and these accolades is they're transitory. They're on your head one day and they're on somebody else's head the next.
Amen.
You know, you cannot live on those kind of titles and accolades alone. If you feed into them too much, it's very easy to be resentful when they pass to someone else or bitter. And I haven't got time. Nobody got time for that. So how I see it is, it's kind of a nod in my direction to say, Bev, we see what you're doing. We like what you're doing. Keep doing it. What is more important for me is building the legacy.
Fantastic.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Are you?
I've got the energy of someone at day one.
Literally.
There's so much more that I want to do. Way more than perhaps even people realise. I'm one of those people who's quietly determined. I don't wear my ambition on my sleeve, you know. But I do what I do and I'm dogged about it. So, yeah, and I do feel that with every day, every step that I'm still in the game.
Wow.
I'm doing it. I'm living it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
When was the last time that you cried?
Oh, the last time I cried. Wow. I'll be honest. When I heard Maurice White had passed away.
We've lost quite a few people this year,
We
and I know you're
really
quite
have.
vocal about that on Twitter.
Yeah, I am.
You always pay homage. It's almost like you're almost like a bit of a news flash. It's like look on Bev's Twitter feed if you want to know what's going on in the world, because you're so aware of what's happening.
I try my best, but the year started badly with the death of Bowie, and it just continued.
Really hit people
I mean,
hard.
that shook me. He was a man I had the honour of knowing,
Wow.
you know, and I couldn't believe that I would never see him again.
Wow.
And so the year went on. Alan Rickman and, you know, people who maybe whose music I didn't listen to, but, you know, were very important culturally and, you know, musically. People like Lemmy from Motorhead. And
Right.
it's just the death toll seemed to continue.
Yeah, we
And
lost
then-
Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah,
That-
Maurice White, that was the worst. I mean,
For you.
for me, that was
So
the
hard.
hardest one, because I grew up with Earth, Wind and Fire. You grew up with Earth, Wind and
Yes.
Fire.
My mum, yeah.
Maurice White, in creating that group, he created an R&B supergroup,
Right.
the legacy of which can be felt if you look at Bruno Mars's group.
Yes,
You know, when he's on
yes,
stage touring.
yes,
If you
yes,
look at
yes.
Justin Timberlake,
Right.
if you look at any number of R&B acts, from your Mint Conditions,
Yeah.
you know, to your any
Next.
all of those guys.
All of them, Jagged Edge.
Absolutely, all of them you can trace back, and even the solo artists, your Joes, your John Legends,
Donnell.
you know, your Donnells, you can all trace them back in some way, shape or form to what Earth, Wind and Fire did.
Wow.
And so to lose Maurice White, yeah,
That
I
was
cried.
tough.
I cried.
Wow.
And I was mad as hell that I thought that not the Oscars, the Grammys were going to exclude his contribution to music in terms of a tribute. But in the
Right.
end, they cobbled together something very quickly.
Okay, good.
So I was like, well,
Oh,
great.
yeah.
But why did it take an outcry
Right.
for that to happen?
But exactly. And
Yeah.
that's a whole different interview.
That's a whole different
That's how we're
interview.
going to chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a lot there. How do you overcome fear? Do you find that, I mean, to have what you've accomplished, it's clear that you're fearless, but even that the best of us in our best times are confronted with fear. How do you deal with it?
Fear is a funny thing. You can have irrational fear, which I have. I'm scared of spiders.
Right.
You know, me and
I'm
spiders
scared
are
of
not
mice.
friends.
I'm like, ah! Even if I see them in the underground,
really?
I freak out. I
They
can't.
don't bother me.
No.
Spiders
they
though,
just-
arachnids,
oh my
no,
God.
cannot,
Spiders.
cannot. But I guess when you say fear, you mean the fear to fail or to do something and not do a good job.
Yes, that's right. Especially in your line of work where it's
you're
so
putting yourself out there.
competitive, you're competitive, you're putting yourself out there. You've got to keep coming back with something fresh. What's in your mind? How do you sort of stay balanced?
The thing is, at the risk of sounding, as Tyra Banks would say, braggadocious, I know what my strengths are. I play to my strengths.
Fantastic.
For example, going into theatre was a big risk because people knew me as a recording artist.
That's correct.
And, you know, a singer, a songwriter, and someone who gives a live show. What people didn't know is that I had years and years and years and years of experience on stage in theatre. And what I didn't know myself is whether I could translate that kind of amateur dramatic stuff that I was doing my whole life into a performance that was worthy of the West End. I didn't know that, but one thing I knew I had was the right attitude and the right spirit and the drive and the determination
And the undeniable voice.
to work hard to make sure that I did get to that level. So the things that I wasn't sure I had naturally, I worked hard at, like dance. Don't dance. Don't like dance, but I do it. And I work hours and hours to get it right. I'm not a natural, you know, I have to really work hard at choreography. It's just not what I like to do. But I knew I could act, and I knew I could sing, so I knew I had 2 out of 3. And what I didn't have in the third, I knew I could work hard and make up for. Sometimes you got to confront those fears just head on and take the flak.
Yeah, and be willing to learn on the go.
Yeah,
as well.
While I did get, you know, extra help and tutoring, A, to brush up acting skills, B, for dancing, I knew I was never going to be joining the Alvin Ailey dance company anytime soon. You know, no one was going to be buying. That's not my aim. No one was going to be going to Sadler's Wells to see my dance interpretation of West Side Story. You know, that was never going to be me. I knew I could work hard to have enough of what I needed to fulfill the role. And I also knew I had enough kind of attitude
Good.
to pull it off.
You know yourself.
I know myself.
Yeah, and you know what you can deliver.
That's
and
right.
you know what you need to work on, but it doesn't impede you from getting on with it.
Yeah. If I lack in an area, then I just know I have to work hard to get to that level.
You heard it from Bev herself. Work at, you know, those things that what you're great at, celebrate those, and what you're not so great at, work on them.
Work on them.
That's
Just
work,
keep
just put in
working
the
on them.
work.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Moving in a slightly different direction, where there is actually much work to be done. I know that you're an advocate for the LGBT community.
Yes.
And you lost a friend, a dear friend.
Yeah, it was my best mate.
It was your best mate. Do you feel that the world is becoming more accepting and more sort of, I hate to use the word, but tolerant?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Diverse, since you've lost your friend.
And it's funny because the word is tolerant. And tolerant insinuates put up with.
Right, which is why I dare use it, because I find that phrase.
It's a hard phrase to swallow.
It is.
We tolerate your existence. We tolerate you being around. But if I'm honest with you, that's actually the most apt word, because it is about tolerance. People are putting up with, don't necessarily like it, but they'll be prepared to put up with it because they're just so giving and lovely. Well, no. Your approval, it's a line that I think comes from I think it's Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. It might be from Fu Wong Chu, but I can't remember. Your approval isn't needed, but you have to accept what I do.
Right.
You know, and that's the place I want to get to.
I received an MBE
Yeah.
from the Queen, which is incredible. I've always been so curious. What does she whisper to you? What does she say as she shakes your hand?
Well, she shook my hand. She said, "Well done." And she said, and you've been performing music for a long time, haven't you? And I said, "Yes, Your Majesty. I've performed music my whole life. It's my truest and greatest love." And she said, "And do you have a new album coming out?" And at the time I did. So I said, "Yes, ma'am." You have to say Your Majesty first, then follow it with ma'am. So I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do have a new album coming out. I'm very excited and looking forward to it." And she kind of said, "Well, congratulations." And then she does this thing where, as she's shaking your hand, she kind of pushes it, which is the sign to say, "Now, off you go." So you have to then walk backwards, curtsy, turn around, walk off.
Wow, is there like a dress rehearsal for this?
Do you know something? They brief you before you meet the Queen. They brief you.
Mom, curtsy.
Never turn your back directly on the Queen.
So
You have to walk away, and then once you're out of her kind of
peripheral. Right.
then you can go.
Hey now.
Pomp and ceremony and circumstance.
Wow, HRH, you got going on with a little curtsy and ma'am.
Yeah, I agonised about it. I was in my mid-30s. I thought, well, what have I done really, you know, to warrant even being considered for an MBE? That's how I saw it. And also, if I'm honest with you, there is the whole kind of colonial connotations and that whole thing about the empire, etc.
Yeah, which I know a lot of people in the Afro-Caribbean diaspora have actually rejected.
Yes.
MBEs because of that.
Because of that, and I completely and utterly understand that. And so it was a real kind of toss-up. And I wasn't allowed to tell anybody in my family. You've got to keep it to yourself. You've got to keep it quiet. So while I was musing it, the only people who knew were my two managers. And it was something one of my managers said. He said, "Bev, this MBE doesn't represent you so much as the journey of your parents." They were like, he said, you know, they've come from Jamaica. They came to Britain to a hostile welcome.
Oh, yes.
They had no idea what really was waiting for them, what was ahead of them, what they could achieve. That all they knew is they wanted to have children and have a better life for them.
That's right.
And you came along and you've had this incredible journey with both of your parents by your side, supporting you the whole way. So that MBE belongs to them just as much as it belongs to you. That was the clincher. They loved the Queen, they respected the Queen, they respected the monarchy, blah, blah.
Patriotism when you arrive, because my parents were the same.
They're the same. So I was like, I'll do this because I know what it'll mean to them.
Yeah.
But when I eventually was able to tell them, "Mom, Dad, you need to sit down, I've got something to tell you." "You're pregnant?" "No." "No, not pregnant. But we're going to Buckingham Palace because I'm going to get an MBE." That's the one and only time I saw my dad cry. My dad, the one and only time.
Wow.
My mum cry all the time. "Oh, I'm so proud and all. What am I going to wear? I need a new hat."
Oh my God.
My dad just went quiet.
He just took it in.
And he really owned it.
So your managers in effect were spot on.
They were spot
it's
on.
what it means to him.
Yeah.
That, you know, when your mum and dad got together, they came over from the West Indies, the journey, the travel, the struggle,
Absolutely.
the overcoming, the settling in. Because people, obviously, in the news, immigration is such a touchy subject now. And they're all, you know, the new immigrants now, whether it's the, you know,
people from Eastern Europe,
Eastern Europeans,
or coming from war zones in North Africa.
That's correct. You know, it's sort of still quite something that seems quite sinister, and these people are coming in and taking over.
Bogeymen.
Right.
Yeah.
So can you imagine back then when we didn't have social media, we didn't have so much press or, you know, individual discussions and groups, and there wasn't almost like a voice, very voiceless. When you came over here, you sort of took what you were given, cracked on with it. For your dad to have your medal.
Oh, it meant everything.
Wow.
It meant
He must have just saw his
everything.
whole life and said, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
that was exactly
yes,
it.
yeah.
That was exactly it. And that was when I realised the significance of my career and what it meant to them.
It's
you know,
because
it was way bigger than me. And that day at Buckingham Palace, you know, when my name was called and I walked forward and shook hands with the Queen and all of that. I mean, for me, it was like, all I could think about was don't fall over. Don't fall over. You're wearing heels, don't fall over. But my parents were there watching it, you know, apparently my mum was gripping my dad's hand. And then we went out to the Ivy and had dinner after and everything. And then I got the chance to watch a little bit of news footage about me receiving my MBE.
Oh, wow, good.
And that was when it hit me.
As well. Yeah.
That hit me. I was like, my God, this is huge.
Mid-30s
so,
as well.
Mid-30s.
Congratulations.
Just mad.
Congratulations. But so well
you know,
deserved.
I'm so glad because I didn't know that I'd lose my dad in 2010. It was only 3 years later that my dad was gone. And I'm so glad he saw that. He was
wonderful.
There. He experienced that.
That's right.
And that huge for me. Huge.
Wonderful, wonderful. Wow, that concludes our interview today, Bev. You've been so gracious, so sharing.
So have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Where
you.
can we find out more about you? What is coming next? You've got the tour, so tell me, when does it kick off? Because I can't keep track of all the dates.
Oh, I know.
You keep announcing new dates on Facebook.
It's mad. So I go on tour. My first date is Ipswich on the 21st of May.
Lovely, 21st of May.
Come to London on the 25th of May. Go all around the country. My very last date is the 18th of June, which is in Kent.
Fantastic.
And then my album is out on the 10th of June. It's called Soulsville.
Yes, we're going to have a whole page on the magazine.
Oh,
so if we can
fantastic.
embed, would it be on iTunes?
It'll be on iTunes.
We're going to embed the iTunes page on there
Absolutely.
so that we can get everybody listening to it, buying it. Please, please, please. Yeah.
Real song.
Awesome.
And then 15th of July is the Bodyguard at the Dominion Theatre.
If I'm in the country, it's my birthday the week before, I'll come.
Well, I'm there for 6 months, so you've got plenty of time.
We've got great time. Oh, lovely. I wasn't sure if it was a short run like Cats or if you...
No, it's
you're there for a
I'm there
while.
for 6 months.
Oh, lovely. We've got time. Yeah.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you, honey.
Thank
Big
you.
hug. You're so wonderful. Thank you, Bev.
It's a
Thank you
pleasure.
for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. You can find Bev at Beverley Knight.
BeverleyKnight.com.
You can see her on Twitter at Beverley Knight.
Yeah.
Instagram at
Beverley
Knight.
Knight.
Thank you for watching and enjoy reading. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Sing praise, how sweet, sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Once was lost, but now, yes indeed I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.